The hidden test that made Paystack uncopyable. Pair for personally the Paystack playbook. Here is the uncomfortable truth most founders miss. Building the product is easy. Getting the right first 1,000 people to break it, pay for it, and brag about it is the hard part. Paystack did not win because they had the best code. They won because they tested differently. In part 1, we covered 4 principles. Start with developers, follow workarounds, ship to people who will yell at you, and nail one use case. In part 2, we would have covered principles 5 through 8. Now in part 3, we pull everything together. We will recap all 8 principles, expose 3 mistakes other companies keep making, and give you the exact lessons you can use if you are unemployed, underemployed, or on Social Security and need to ideate a product that pays. No theory, just the Paystack playbook versus what everyone else does. The full 8 principles. How Paystack found and tested with real customers. Let us lay out all 8 together. For each one, we will explain what Paystack did, how it compares to other companies, and why it worked. Principle 1. Start with the developers, not the businesses. What Paystack did, they obsessed over the person integrating the API. Documentation was clear. Integration took 30 minutes. Error messages were human. They hung out where developers hung out. GitHub, Stack Overflow, Radar, tech meetups in Yaba. Compared to others, traditional players like InterSwitch sold to banks and merchants. Developers were an afterthought. The result was PDFs, 3-week onboarding, and support tickets that went cold. Why it worked. In payments, the developer is the gatekeeper. Win their trust, and they bring you 10 merchants. Ignore them, and no merchant ever sees you. Your move. If you are ideating, ask who is the developer in your space. The person who has to use your product to deliver value to someone else. Make that person love you first. Principle 2. Look for workarounds as a signal. What Paystack did. Before launch, the team saw Instagram vendors posting account numbers, Google form orders, and manual "please send proof of payment" messages. That was the market screaming. Paystack did not need to educate anyone. They just needed to replace a painful ritual. Compare to others. Many 2015 fintechs built wallets because financial inclusion was a donor buzzword. But Nigerians were not asking for another wallet. They were asking for a way to get paid without refreshing their bank app all day. Why it worked. Workarounds equal validated demand with zero marketing spend. If people are already doing the job badly, they will pay to do it well. Your move. Walk your street. Where are people doing with notebooks, WhatsApp broadcasts, or extra staff that software could kill? That is your first MVP. Principle 3. Ship to the people who will yell at you. What Paystack did. Their beta users were YC-backed startups and small Lagos tech firms. These users had runway to protect. When a payment failed, they sent angry emails at midnight. Paystack's founders answered those emails themselves. Every complaint became a ticket, then a fix, then a tweet from a happy customer. Compared to others, banks run pilots with friendly corporate clients. Everyone is polite. The feedback is vague. A product ships broken because nobody felt the pain of failure. Why it worked. Urgent. Annoyed users give you truth at high speed. Paystack's feedback loop was hours, not quarters. Your move. Do not test with family. Test with people who will lose money or time if you fail. Their anger is your roadmap. Principle 4. One segment, one use case, one win. What Paystack did. For the first year, the message was simple. Rehelp Nigerian tech startups accept card payments online. No POSAC, no transfers, no agents. Just make online card payments not suck. Compare to others. Telco-led apps, launched with 20 features on day 1. Airtime, bills, tickets, QR, USSD, loans, savings. Users were confused and nothing was reliable. Why it worked. Focus lets you get 10 out of 10 on one job. That earns you permission to do the second job. Paystack became the default for startups, then expanded to all online businesses, then to offline. Your move. Write one sentence. We help X do Y. If you need a comma, you are not ready to test. Principle 5. Use content as a customer filter. What Paystack did. They wrote tear-down posts on failed transactions. They published real engineering lessons. They explained chargebacks like you were 5. This did 2 things. It attracted technical customers who valued transparency, and it repelled people who wanted just make it work without context. Compared to others, most payment companies do ads and sales decks. Paystack did education. When Flutterwave and others copied the product, they could not copy the trust Paystack had built in public. Why it worked? Content is not marketing. It is a test. The people who read, share, and reply are your tribe. They self-select. Your move. Before you build, teach, write about the problem. The people who argue with you or thank you are your first users. Principle 6. Treat support as product research. What Paystack did. The founders were in the support inbox. They replied on Twitter. They turned every failed into a why did it fail, and then a how do we make sure it never fails again. Sasperport was not a cost center. It was the product team. Compared to others, big companies outsource support or hide behind forms. The feedback never reaches the people building, so the product stays dumb. Why it worked. Real customer language beats any survey. Paystack learned that card was declined meant 50 different things. They fixed each one. Your move. If you are unemployed and testing, do support yourself. Answer every 500. Those conversations are your spec doc. Principle 7. Price from day one. What Paystack did. Even in beta, they charged. It was a small fee per transaction. This forced honesty. If someone integrated Paystack but never went live, that was data. If someone paid fees happily, that was stronger data. Compared to others, many startups run free pilots for 6 months. They celebrate user growth. It disappears the second an invoice arrives. Free users lie. Paid users tell the truth. Why it worked. A charge is the cleanest tech. It answers the only question that matters. Will someone give you money for this? Your move. Can you charge 50 naira for your test? Do it. Payment is feedback. Likes are not. Principle 8. Build in public, but test in private. What Paystack did. They were loud about lessons and outages. But they tested features with small, trusted groups first. New dashboard. 5 friendly developers see it. New fraud rule. 10 high-risk merchants try it. Only after private testing did they announce to everyone. Compared to others, companies either build in total secrecy and launch to crickets, or they tweet every idea and get paralysis from opinions. Why it worked. Public builds trust. Private tests reduce risk. Paystack got both. Your move. Share the journey. Keep the experiments small. Launch to 5 before you launch to 5,000. 3 mistakes. Other companies heed making. Now, let us flip it. Here are 3 errors we see again and again. Paystack avoided them. Most do not. Mistake 1. Mistaking market size for market pain. What others do. They pitch, there are 40 million SMEs in Nigeria, and build a generic product for all of them. Why it fails. 40 million people do not have the same urgency. Paystack started with maybe 200 startups who were losing deals weekly because payments failed. Small number. Bleeding problem. Lesson. Do not chase big numbers. Chase deep pain. Depth beats breadth on day 1. Mistake 2. Testing with friendly audiences. What others do. They demo to partner banks, advisor networks, or grant committees. Everyone claps. Why it fails. Claps are not revenue. Those audiences do not use the product at midnight when something breaks. Paystack tested with people whose businesses would break if Paystack broke. Lesson. If your test user can afford for you to fail, you are testing wrong. Mistake 3. Adding features to please everyone. What others do. After 10 sales calls, they add USSD, POS, loans, invoicing, and any commerce plugin. The product becomes a buffet. Why it fails. New features split focus. The core gets weaker. Support load goes up. Paystack said no to almost everything for 2 years. They became excellent at one thing. Lesson. Every new feature is a new promise. Only make promises you can keep at 3 in the morning. Lessons learned. Your Paystack style checklist. If you are on Social Security, unemployed, or underemployed and want to ideate, Print this. 1. Find the person who is taping a solution together. That is your customer. 2. Serve the person who touches the tool, not just the person who signs the check. 3. Testers who will complain publicly. Silence is the enemy. 4. Write one sentence to describe your first version. No commas allowed. 5. Teach before you sell. Your readers are your leads. 6. Do support yourself. Pain you hear is pain you can fix. 7. Charge something, even if it is small. Payment is truth. 8. Build in public for trust. Test in private for safety. Bonus lesson. Uncopyable products are not about secret code. They are about accumulated trust from thousands of small, honest interactions. Paystack's moat was not tech. It was the fact that developers believed them. So what do you do next? Look around. What is the send account number and pray in your world? Who is losing sleep because a process is manual, embarrassing, or slow? Can you solve one step of that process this week for 5 people and charge them? If yes, you just started your Paystack journey. This was part 3. If you want me to break down more African case studies like Flutterwave, PiggyVest, or Thrive Agric, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I drop real playbooks every week. No hype, no jargon, just what works, why it works, and how you can use it even if you are starting with zero capital. See you in the comments. Tell me what painful workaround you are seeing, and let us figure out how to kill it together. The 850 problem that built a billion-dollar company. How Paystack found its first customers. Ever wondered how two guys turned card payments do not work here into a company worth over $100 billion? Before Paystack became the poster child of African fintech, they had one embarrassing problem. Nobody wanted to pay online in Nigeria. Banks were unreliable. Developers were frustrated. Customers did not trust Pay Now buttons. Yet today, over 200 businesses use Paystack to get paid. How did they find the right first customers when everyone said the market was not ready? And how did they test a product in a country where failed transaction was a national anthem? That is what this 3-part series is about. We are breaking down Paystack's playbook, so you, whether you are an entrepreneur, unemployed, underemployed, or figuring out your next move, can steal the same principles to ideate and test your own products. This is part 1. We are starting at 0. How Paystack identified who to build for and how they tested before scaling. I will compare what they did versus what most companies get wrong. No fluff. Real lessons you can use Monday morning. Part 1. Finding the person with the bleeding neck. Forget target market. Paystack did not start with a spreadsheet of demographics. They started with pain. Specifically, people who were losing money every single day because payments were broken. Here are the first 4 of 8 principles Paystack used to identify and test with potential customers. We will cover the other 4 in part 2. Principle 1. Start with the developers, not the businesses. What Paystack did. While other payment companies chased big banks and large merchants, Paystack went to developer meetups, tech Twitter, and small startup founders. Why? Developers were the ones actually integrating payment buttons. If integration took 2 weeks and still failed, they were the ones getting blamed. Paystack solved for the person in the trenches. Compare this to others. InterSwitch and eTransact went top-down. They signed deals with banks and hoped merchants would follow. The result? Products that looked good in boardrooms but were hated by the people who had to implement them. Explanation. Your first customer is not always the one paying the invoice. It is the one feeling the pain most acutely. For Paystack, that was developers losing clients because they could not get payments to work. Lesson for you. If you are unemployed or idioting, do not ask, what does the CEO want? Ask, who stays up at night? Because this problem exists. That is your day 1 user. Principle 2. Look for workarounds. As a signal, what Paystack did. Before writing code, Shola Akinlade and Ezra Olubi saw what Nigerian businesses were already doing. People were sharing bank account numbers on Instagram DMs. Others used Google Forms plus manual bank transfer confirmation. Some hired payment confirmation officers. These janky workarounds screamed, there is demand, but no solution. Compare this to others. Many fintechs in 2015 were building wallets and USSD products because financial inclusion was trendy. But they ignored what people were actually doing to get paid. They built for a PowerPoint, not for reality. Explanation: workarounds are unpaid customer research. If people are duct taping a solution together, they will pay for a real one. Paystack did not need to convince anyone that online payments mattered. The market was already convincing itself. Lesson for you: if you want to ideate, do not start with surveys. Start with observation. What ugly, manual thing are people doing because the proper tool does not exist? That is your MVP hiding in plain sight. Principle 3. Ship to the people who will yell at you. What Paystack did? Their first users were YC startups and small Lagos tech companies. These folks were brutal. They reported bugs at 11 p.m. They tweeted complaints publicly. They demanded features. Paystack loved it. Because those angry early adopters gave feedback faster than any focus group. Compare this to others. Big payment companies do closed beta tests with friendly banks. Everyone is polite. No one says the product is trash. So they launched to crickets. Paystack chose customers who had low patience but high urgency. Explanation: testing is not about getting approval. It is about getting punched in the face early so you can build armor. If your test users are too nice, your data is lying to you. Lesson for you: when testing, pick 10 people who need this to work tomorrow. If it breaks, they lose money. Their feedback is gold. Your friends and family are not test users. They are cheerleaders. Principle 4. One segment, one use case. One win. What Paystack did. In 2015, they did not say, "We serve all businesses." They said, "We help Nigerian tech startups accept cards online, reliably." That is it. No POS, no agents, no transfers yet. They nailed one painful use case for one group and became the default. Only then did they expand. Compare this to others. Look at companies like Conga Pay or many telco-led payment apps. Day 1, they launched with 20 features for 10 customer types. Result: nothing worked well, and users churned. Explanation: potential customers cannot test your product if it is trying to do everything. Focus creates clarity for you and for them. Paystack's early test question was simple: can a developer integrate and get paid in 30 minutes? Yes or no? Lesson for you: if you are underemployed in building something, do not build a platform. Build a painkiller for one group. Win their trust. Then earn the right to expand. Quick reality check. 3 mistakes other companies make when finding customers. We will go deep in part 3, but here is a preview. 1. Building for everyone. If you describe your customer as SMs, EMEs in Africa, you do not have a customer. Paystack picked 95 back startups in Yaba first. 2. Testing with free users. Companies love pilot programs where nobody pays. Free users lie. Paystack charged from day 1, even if it was for $8.50. Payment is the best feedback. 3. Ignoring support tickets. Most companies see complaints as a cost center. Paystack used support chats as their roadmap. Your angry customer is your best PM. Lessons learned from Part 1.1. Pain beats demographics. Find the bleeding neck, not the total addressable market. 2. Workarounds are validation. If people are hacking it, they will pay to fix it. 3. Your best testers are impatient. Politeness kills products. 4. Focus wins. One customer, one job, one WAP before you scale. So here is my question for you. What painful workaround do you see people doing every day in your street, your WhatsApp group, or your old workplace? That might be your Paystack moment. In Part 2, we will cover the next 4 principles: how Paystack used content, community, and embarrassing MVPs to test, plus the final mistakes companies make, and the full lessons learned summary. If this gave you ideas, subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I break down more African startup case studies you can actually use. No theory, just playbooks. See you in Part 2. The AP, all that changed everything. How Paystack tested with real money from day 1. Remember where we stopped in Part 1. Paystack had a rule. If someone was not angry enough to dump you for a bug, they were not the right early customer. but finding them was only half the battle. The real question was, how do you test a payments product in a country where transaction failed is the default? You cannot fake money. You cannot A/B test trust. So Paystack did something most companies are too scared to do, that they made themselves look bad in public, on purpose. And that is where we pick up. This is part 2. We are covering the next 4 principles. Paystack used to test with potential customers how they stacked up against other companies, and the mindset shifts you need if you are ideating while unemployed, underemployed, or building your first thing. Part 2. Test. In the open, charge. In the open, learn in the open principle. 5. Make your MVP embarrassing, but not broken. What Paystack did. Their first version in 2015 was just a simple payment page and an Apple IP. No dashboard. No settlements report. No refunds button. Founders had to email Paystack to know if they got paid. By today's standards, it was embarrassing. But it did one thing perfectly. Card transactions that actually succeeded. Compare this to others. Many Nigerian fintechs wait 12 months to launch a complete platform with 30 features. They raise money, hire big teams, and then find out users only wanted one feature. Flutterwave's early competitor, Cash Envoy, built a full wallet ecosystem before nailing card success rates. It did not end well. Explanation. Testing is about risk reduction, not reputation management. Paystack shipped the smallest thing that could remove the one pain: failed payments. Everything else was noise. An embarrassing MVP gets you data. A perfect, delayed launch gets you assumptions. Lesson for you. If you are building with no capital, ship what is useful in 2 weeks, not what is impressive in 2 years. Ask, what is the one job my customer would pay to stop doing manually today? Build only that. Principle 6. Use content as your customer filter. What Paystack did. Before they had salespeople, they had a blog and docs. Ezra wrote brutally clear API documentation. Shola wrote posts like why card payments fail in Nigeria. They answered developer questions on Radar and Twitter at midnight. The result? Only serious developers who read docs and cared about reliability came inbound. Compare this to others. Traditional payment companies hired feet-on-the-street agents to sign up random shops. Those merchants did not know what an API was. Turn was insane. Paystack used content to repel the wrong customers and attract the right ones. Explanation. Your marketing is not just for attention. It's a filter. Paystack's content told potential customers, we are for you if failed transactions keep you up at night. If that did not resonate, you are not their guy yet. Lesson for you. If you are underemployed and testing an idea, do not run ads. Teach. Write the top 5 things your ideal customer is Googling at 1 a.m. The people who find you will be pre-qualified and ready to test. Principle 7. Charge from day one, even if it is for help. Paystack did. They never did a free beta. From the first transaction, they took their standard 1.5% plus 100 cap. Founders complained, but they paid. Why? Because a customer who will not pay 50 for your test is not a customer. They are a focus group. Compare this to others. Look at Paga's early agent model, or many telco payment products. They subsidized transactions for years to buy growth. When they tried to charge, users vanished. You cannot test price sensitivity with free. Paystack learned pricing and value in real time because real money was involved. Explanation. Payment is the purest form of feedback. I like it is not data. Paid for it is. Paystack's willingness to charge early forced them to build value fast and kill bad customer fits instantly. Lesson for you. If you are ideating, put a price on your test. Even if it is 500. Free users will say, this is cool. Paying users will tell you what is broken. You only learn from the second group. Principle 8. Turn support into your product team. What Paystack did. In the early days, Shola and Ezra were customer support. Every failed transaction got a personal WhatsApp message. They did not just fix it. They asked, what were you trying to do? Those conversations became the roadmap. Features like Pay with Transfer, USSD, and Paystack storefronts all came from support tickets. Compare this to others. Most companies hide support behind email forms and "we will get back to you in 48 hours." They see support as a cost. Paystack treated it as R&D. InterSwitch had the market for years, but was not in the trenches hearing why developers were frustrated. Explanation: your first 100 support chats are your best product spec. Testing is not just does it work. It is, what do you wish it did next? Paystack built a feedback loop so tight that customers felt like co-founders. Lesson for you: if you are testing a product, do not outsource customer chat. Do it yourself. Every complaint is a feature request. Every "do you have X?" is your next test. Quick recap: how Paystack tested versus how others launch one. Paystack: embarrassing MVP plus real payments. Others: polished pitch deck plus fake demos. 2. Paystack: docs and content to attract developers. Others: billboards to attract everyone. 3. Paystack: charge immediately. Others: we will figure out monetization later. 4. Paystack: founders did support. Others: interns copy-paste. Sorry for the inconvenience. Lessons learned from Part 2.1. An MVP should solve one painful job, not win a design award. 2. The content you publish chooses your customers before they choose you. 3. Free users give you compliments. Paying users give you truth. 4. Support is not a department. It is your fastest way to know what to build next. So think about this. If you had to charge for your idea tomorrow, who would actually pay? And what would they 500 you at 11 p.m. to complain about? That is your roadmap. In Part 3, we will tie everything together. I will break down the 3 biggest mistakes other companies make when identifying customers, the final lessons learned from Paystack's journey, and how you can apply this even if you have zero capital today. If you are finding this useful, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I drop weekly playbooks like this for entrepreneurs, job seekers, and anyone trying to build something real in Africa. Part 3 drops next.